Hello and welcome to week 41 of solving prepping data in Enso. I'm Adam Riley. This week we have got some uh, Forbes highest paid athletes data. So this has come from Wikipedia. It's been put into an Excel workbook for us, and we've got some cleaning to do to get it into a better format. So as always, I've got the Excel workbook preloaded into my Enso project. If we look at the visualization for that, we can see it consists of a number of worksheets. So there's one that's the source, and then we've got one of these for each year. And so first thing, as always, is to input the data, and we want to bring all the year tables together into a single table. So for that, in Enso, we have the read many component. Uh, if I select that, so by default, this brings in all of the worksheets together. The source isn't great for this because the source is actually a different format to the rest of the sheets, which is why the instructions say just bring in all the year tables. So I could come up here to sheet names and I could manually select sort of each one of these, but it's a little bit time consuming. So instead, I'm going to just, off the workbook, if I use the sheet name component, that lists me all of the sheet names, and I can then filter out the um, so not equal to source, so that removes the source, and then if I put that into the sheet names, that's going to bring in all of the sheets that aren't source. Okay, so next thing, we've got a lot of extra rows. We're expecting 10 rows per sheet, and there's a lot of blank rows in the source data, so just need to filter those out. So let's use the filter component where rank is not nothing. Okay, so that gives us 130 rows. So it's looking good. So let's expand our data and take a look where we've got now. So the next one we've got is that not all of the names on each of those worksheets lines up. So you can see country here on the first record, first few records, so that's these sheets. Then as we get further down, the country field isn't populated, but the nation field is. This is a fairly common thing that you see in when you try and merge together data sheets. So easiest way to deal with this is to do a transpose on all of your data. In fact, before I do that, I'm going to add a row ID so I can bring it back together later. So add row number, I'm going to call that row ID. So now I can transpose. I'll use that row ID field as my key column. And so what that does is for each row in the source data, it gives me each field as a name value pair. So this is great. I now come through and I can fix up the names that don't match. So for example, nation needs to become country. To do that, I'll do a replace. So replace, and I could do this from a little lookup table, or I could do it, and I want to replace the name column. Or I can do it built into here. So it depends how many sort of values I need to replace as to which technique I tend to go for, but let's do it as pairs today. So we want to rename, after we say nation, so if I copy nation and then paste it in there, and we're going to rename that to country. So copy that, paste it in there, so we can see down here nation becomes country, and then nationality is also another one that needs to become country, so just add a second value here, copy, paste it in there. Let's just take country from this one. Okay, and then once we've done that, we can then cross-tab the data back again. So let's do that here, and so group by row ID, name, and then values. What do we want to do? I think, just trying to think, will first work here. So I need to get rid of the null values. I'm hoping I can ignore nothings there. Yeah, so let's see. Does that do what I want? So it brings it back to 130 rows. I need to select the values here. So that's looking good. So now hopefully the country field, which is here, doesn't have any nothing values in. Great, so that's looking good. So we've still got some other ones that we need to clean up. So if we look, we've got salary winnings there, which has got nothing, and salary winnings. Okay, so we've got a case sensitivity problem here. So if we, let's go back into this view so I can copy and paste them out of here. So if I take salary winnings with the capital W, copy that, paste it in there, and then I can just correct the case on that one. So that's updated that one. And then the last one we should do is total earnings and total. So let's update total to total earnings, I think, for this one. So again, total to total earnings. Okay, so that should have cleaned up all of those mismatches. Let's take a look at the full data set. So quick scan down. Yep, that's looking good. We haven't got those, nothing about those anymore. Okay, so what's next? So clean up. Sorry, merging mismatched fields. Now create a numeric year field. So we've got the year because that's the sheet name. We just need to turn that into, so we can rename it. So sheet name is year, and we can pass it to a number. So pass year, and we'll make that a integer. So if we now find the year column, we can see here indicates it's an integer field. So the next thing we do is clean up the fields with the monetary amount. So these are these salary winnings, the total earnings, it seems to have some asterisks around it, and the endorsements. And they want us to turn them into a numeric field. They want the millions to become an actual number. So they suggest, which I think is a good suggestion, to pivot all three columns into a single column, so we can do the cleaning calculations as one and then put it back again. So similar to what we did above, we're going to transpose the data to start with. We're going to group by more fields this time, so row ID. So basically we want everything that isn't the field that we want. Okay, so we're going to warn him about the names being repeated, so that's just because, so I'm just going to call that header there. So this, again, as we did before, has sort of brought those three columns down. So if we come across to the left-hand side of this data set, we've got all of those values now in a single column. So we can do the cleanup on that value column, and then we can cross-tab it back again. So first thing we need to do is remove some of this extra punctuation and things that we've got around it. So we see these asterisks, we've got the dollar sign. So with that, I'm going to use the trim command. So if I do a set, then I'll do a simple expression on that value field, and the operation, so it's under text, it's called trim. So trim will remove a given set of characters from the start and end. Well, actually, you can define where, so either from the left or the right or both. So in this case, I want to do both. What is a text value? So I'll start with the start. In fact, if we expand this out, we can look at what we're doing as we work. So here's the value before, and here's the trim value. So we can look at these two. And so if I put a star in here, that removes all the stars from the start and end. I can also add the $sign in here, which brings us like that. And actually, I keep adding characters in here, so I can put in the whole of the million characters. So if I do MIL, it removes and has that worked? Yep, and then the space is the last thing to remove. Great, so that's brought it down to a numeric field. So having done that, I can change the set mode to update, and that will replace it in place, so it overwrites the existing one. So we've done that. We then want to pass that field into a numeric format. So value to a float, and then we can multiply it by 1 million. So just do an expression to value multiplied by 1 million. Again, we can look at that. And again, I want to override the existing field. So if I do call it value, again, it just overrides the existing one. Okay, so that's got us down to millions being translated. So now we want to, having done that, we now want to cross tab the data back. So we do cross tab, group by all of the fields that we used before. The name is the header, and the values, again, I can, because they're all unique, I can just use the first value. So the first of the value column. And that's got us back to this format with all of our numeric fields. Load out to full screen. All of our numeric fields blown out. Obviously, we've got a bit of a rounding issue on a couple of those, but okay, so the next thing is to bring in the source information that's associated with each row. Okay, so now we want the information out of that source. So if I go back to my worksheet and read in the single source column, source worksheet, sorry, that has got headers. Again, we've got those blank rows that we don't want, so we will just filter those out. Filter blank rows. So that's got us single field, single value, which is the source, and now we can just attach that on to each record using the cross join tool. So cross join, put that into the right hand side, just tidy that up slightly, and then if we scroll across to the right, there's the source on each record. So removing the unnecessary fields, and we'll also use this chance to reorder the data as well. So select columns, we'll reorder them, and we'll get the same order that they've got. So we've got year, rank, name, sport, country, total earnings, salary winnings, endorsements, source. And we'll order the rows as well, just to match, oh, not reorder, just order. sort the rows by year, descending, and rank. Also descending, I think. Well, there. My rank is a numeric field, so it's actually sorting. But there's Lamar Jackson. Yep, so that's matching there, and I've got the 130 rows. So that is Prepping Data Week 41 solved in Enso. Thank you for watching.